So please, Professor Noel N, can you please stand while we take the citation? His CV is quite large, so I will not be taking everything. Just take the introductory part and the conclusion. It's on the page 1, so we can just read through while we do that. Born in Akwanga, present Nasarawa State, on the 25th of December, 1968, to Joseph Bissan, of blessed memory, and Rebecca Makiyan, Wannang. Little Noel, the last born of the family, grew up in Vale, Pankshin, Plateau State, Nigeria. His academic footprints were etched early on the sands of St. Michael Primary School in Akwanga, RCM Wuseli in Pankshin local government, before he proceeded to the Holy Cross Primary School, Plateau State, where he passed out in 1979. Afterwards, he enrolled in Pankshin Community Secondary School, Jing, then transferred to and graduated to Government Secondary School, Pankshin, in 1984 as the best student. He received his A-level in 1986 from the famous School of Preliminary Studies, Keffi, Nasarawa State, where he came out as the best in his course. He had stints with some of the institution before deciding to, in his words, follow his heart. His heart led him to the prestigious University of Jos, where he obtained his Bachelor of Pharmacy degree in 1992, his master's degree in pharmacology from the Uthman Danfodio University, Sokoto, and also, his thesis was discussed diffuse transactional electrical stimulation in the brain, highlighting the vigor of his intellectual. He had his PhD also in Ahmadu Bello University. Like I said, his CV is quite large, so just not take our time. I'll just read the conclusion parts. I present to you this morning Professor Noel N, a mentor and an erudite academic with an array of superlative achievements, a man who has results, and he has brought honor to his name, honor to his university, honor to WAPC, and honor to all those who have associated with him. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Professor Noel N as he takes his keynote address. You're welcome, sir.
A big round of applause for him. Professor Noel N. Wannang, B.Pharm, MSc, PhD, MSc, LLB, BL, DIP Leadership, PDG, DSc, FPC FPSN, FWASP, FCHD, FNA Pharm, Department of Pharmacology and Toxicology, University of Jos, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Pharmacist Noel Wannang. You're welcome. He'll be speaking on transforming community pharmacy practice through collaboration, research, and innovation. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, MC. I want to apologize to the first MC. It is not in my character to submit a strange name. I saw the difficulty in pronouncing Pankshin. I thought it was Pakistan you actually meant. I apologize for going to a village school that is not close to Lagos. My distinguished colleagues here present, in the absence of the chairman, a very perfect gentleman, Jimmy Agbaje, whom for obvious reasons is unavoidably absent this morning, one of the persons I had respected in Tutu, right from my early days in pharmacy school, a very charismatic and visionary leader, a resilient and ebullient pharmacist and politician, and a effervescent and a dynamic colleague, personality that I know. To my papa, the octogenarian, whom I had from distance had met you, especially when you come to PSN conferences with Madame, you have a way of majestically walking together with her. Not once, not twice, I've regretted not marrying a pharmacist. I cherish you, sir. Other distinguished ladies and gentlemen here present, I want to thank you profusely. Lagos ACPN, when I walked in from the gate, I thought I was in a pharmacy conference, the national conference of November. This to me is as organized or better organized than the PSN conferences I have attended. So probably this is the beginning of a research, a pilot study of PSN conferences. I want to thank Lagos and especially the CPC to have invited me. I'm so thrilled to be here today. I am actually impressed with the bravery of the organizing committee for inviting me all the way from Jos. I call it bravery because here in Lagos, you have a lot of intellects and cerebrals, yet they took the risk of inviting a stranger all the way from Jos. Not just to come and give a keynote address, but to equally give a keynote address and missed erudite, sophisticated, magnificent, and educated pharmacist in Lagos. No doubt, Lagos is the epitome of pharmacy practice. But on another thought, instincts told me that I should not celebrate my invitation for coming because it looks to me as if it was an ambush. Because first, the ACPN chairman called me and we spoke on phone, and the true caller, he told me his name was Tokwe. And I knew Tokwe to be a feminine name, so I replied to him, Ma. He corrected me and said he's a male. I said, I'm sorry. Not quite long again, I received another call from Moji. For those of you that do not know, Moji School is one of the best universities in Nigeria, University of Jos. When I received a call from Moji again, who was my schoolmate, and indeed my senior in the university, and for those of you that don't know, she was the best graduating student of her set again. Then I said, probably they are trying to trick me to allay my fears. The same Moji was conscripted again in another general meeting with the LOC members, CPC members, and others. And she put her phone on speaker. And she told me that I was on speaker, they were listening to me. I became more worried. I became more panicked because the discussion ended that there's going to be a question and answer session with Moji, the best graduating student in her set, in the panel that will ask me questions. A professor coming all the way from Lagos. I said, I can smell the embarrassment is enlarging. But I am confident I will definitely not panic because I am in the midst of my colleagues, my friends, my lead in the choir, in the national and the pharmacy anthem had been a very, very nice friend, mama to all of us. With you around, I know I'm confident we shall have a successful keynote. But I want to promise you something, please. I will do my best not to make you sleep while I present the keynote. But please, if along the line you have to doze off, don't worry, I won't take it personal. Let's have your slides, sir. I think I'm better with the slides all through now. Thank you. The slide you are seeing to the left, that is a story of a certain man called Thomas Edison, his teacher and his mother. Edison had a very terrible performance in class. And the teacher wrote a letter to the mother and sealed it and gave the son. And in the letter she wrote, "Your son is too dull, foolish, and mentally retarded. We won't let him to come to school anymore." Thomas, who was so dull, did not read the letter. He couldn't have read it because he was dull. He took the letter to the mother and gave the mother. The mother looked at the letter, read it, and on second thought, she decided otherwise. When Thomas asked her, "What did the teacher say?" she now replied to him, pretended to be reading that letter. She said, "Your son is a genius. This school is too small for him and doesn't have teachers good enough to teach a genius like him. Please teach him yourself." There, the young Thomas was happy. At least his challenges and weaknesses were not exposed. And the woman took the pains to train her child. She didn't look at the challenges. She focused on his abilities and his strengths. The rest is history. Thomas became the discoverer of electricity, and that is why we're here today. That's why I'm able to hold this microphone and discuss with you. Without him, science would not have been revolutionized. He never knew the content until the mother died, and one day he went to the box searching, and he found that same letter, opened it and read the same thing, read contrary to what the mother told him. He read that your son is too dull, foolish, and mentally retarded. We won't let him come to this school anymore. Then he knew what the mother did to him, went to her graveside, knelt down, and cried profusely. But God knows Thomas changed the history of science. The man to your right, down the screen there, I can bet my life, anybody older than 2 years old in this world must have tested his product, must have seen his product, must have known his product. And I can bet my life too, plenty of you seated here do not know that that man is your colleague. His name is John Stitch Pemberton, the discoverer of Coca-Cola. How did he discover Coca-Cola? He was a colonel in the army, got shot in battle. And then he kept on taking morphine, taking drugs. Eventually got addicted to morphine. And he knew the implication of morphine. He now made up his mind. He needed something else to reduce the pain and yet make him devoid of being an addict. And of course, he mixed some leaves and sugar, which gave the taste of what eventually was called Coca-Cola in Georgia, Atlanta. Until date, Coca-Cola is one drink that is the most popular in the whole world. Today, ACP and Lagos is willing and ready to follow the path of the greats in collaboration, in research and innovation. Like Thomas Edison, who didn't have a good start, but he later picked up in life and became one of the renowned fire scientists in the world. Like John Stitt, who turned addiction to research. So shall all of us here seated today transform our tribulations to triumph. So shall all of us seated here today transform our vices to virtue, as posited in the Bible, Ecclesiastes 7:8. Better be the end than the beginning. Certainly, I must tell you, Lagos is always a standard. Who could ever believe that this Lagos we are seeing, upper left, at a point in time, jammed with several vehicles, disorganized, the highest level of entropy was found in Lagos. Hardly do you believe that there are sane persons in Lagos. But believe it or not, everything turned. For those of you that do not know too, I cut my teeth in pharmacy training here in Lagos, where I did my internship at Lagos University Teaching Hospital. My boss, Okpanuga, is seated somewhere there. I appreciate you. We were here during the rowdiness of Lagos. When I came back to Lagos 5 years ago, 5 years later, I found out that it is a different Lagos, an organized Lagos. I didn't know that it could be possible. Then I remember cities like Dubai. I remember cities like Singapore. I remember cities like Spain. From nowhere from such a chaotic situation, they found themselves in a luxurious centers. That is the story of vision. That is the story of research. That is the story of innovation. And indeed, that is the story of strategic planning. I'm not surprised that ACPN is holding the bull by the horn today. Collaboration, research, and innovation are the engine room of today's economy. When you look at other professionals, journalism, medicine, engineering, they have all revolutionized. They have all imbibed innovation, research, and collaboration. When you look at journalism, for instance, in those days, early in the morning, you buy newspapers and sit down and read hard copies. But today, seated here, you can use your handsets because of advanced technology. 24 hours, you can read your news. The journalism change in research and innovation created a change in customers' behavior, and then there was a total shift in business models. When you look at other courses like medicine too, they transformed from advanced technology, they went into personalized medicines, and they eventually came into genomics. Engineering, then you talk about robotics. Then the big question, pharmacy, specifically community pharmacy practice. All these transformations, they undergo the same process. And I'll tell you, make no mistake, Lagos State shall begin the transformation, shall begin the innovation, the collaboration, and the research. And the outcome shall remain the template for other states and other PSN to follow. In truth, we all graduated from various universities, and some of you came from prestigious University of Jos, but you believe me that even there too, we were not taught any course on success. No university teaches you. Permit me to sound a warning. Nobody gets relevance by mere watching. Like what Al Capone will always say, if you are not on the table, you are on the menu. We must up our game. We have a lot of challenges, especially from patents. If we continue to do community pharmacy the way we do, there will not be any difference between we and the patents. Community pharmacy should not be viewed from the prism of business and wealth. And most unfortunately, the majority of practitioners look at it from that perspective. It should be viewed from the prism of rendering service. No two ways about that. It is through these services that we get rewarded. Permit me not to digress again and focus on the day. Our mindsets should first and foremost be transformed so that our mindset should be the expected outcomes of tomorrow. If we do not change in the way we practice, it is as good as giving paracetamol to somebody with cancer. Or better still, we continue to play like sitting on a barber's chair, turning and turning in the same place, changing ways without changing the system. And that is not our portion. We are not in class. I will not be defining terms. But the slide you are seeing, there are some 3 keywords here. Collaboration, research, and innovation. Innovation in the engine room for collaboration, and the fulcrum of the tree is the research. Please, each time we say research, don't look at research in the same area that I do. Carrying test tubes, failing solution A and B, pouring it into starch, color change blue, and a record. That is not the kind of research that we are talking about. I am referring to daily operational research that we do every day. And interestingly, pharmacists in community pharmacy, you are sitting on a bunch of results. You are sitting on a bunch of opportunities. You have the laboratory, which is your premises. No doubt again, you have the chemicals and the reagents, which are the patients that we see around. The only thing that we have not been able to coordinate is the power of thinking. And I'll tell you, thinking alone is power. Have we ever conceived, wherever we practice, that seated in your hall you can bring a lot of research opportunities, which I am going to give you some here. Look at this topic. Medication adherence amongst patients with chronic illnesses. I can't do that research. Even if I will do it, I need community pharmacists. You sit in your pharmacies and you see patients with diabetes, with hypertension, with asthma, with so many chronic illnesses. You interact with them on a daily basis. Is it possible to consider their medication adherence and then bring out a paper from it, even if it is a short communication? Is it possible to have a topic like patients' perception of medication cost and its effects on adherence? No doubt. Take it or leave it, we have patients that had to remain non-adherent because of cost. Even we seated, I could remember one funny instance. I found myself in US sometimes back with my wife, and walking around New York, I now saw a place that they were selling palm wine. And I told my wife that I will need to have a taste of this palm wine. I entered the place together with her and requested for a cup. And the lady there, a very pretty looking girl, good courtesy, she told me that a cup was $25. Then $1 was 800. $1 was 800 naira. When I did a simple conversion, it was about 20,000 naira for a glass cup of palm wine. I immediately looked at the cost and I walked out, told my wife we should go. I was imagining buying 20,000 naira for a cup, what I can use to harvest the entire palm wine in my village. I decided not to take that cup. And my wife was not happy with me. She kept saying, I embarrassed her. I now turned to her and said, it's not a crime. You can buy it. I will drink it. And she left and told me she would never follow me for any outing again. I am a disgrace to Nigerians. But of course, my $25 was saved. I can tell you, there are several persons here too in our society that because of the cost of our drugs, it affects adherence. Have we ever thought of concepting a research topic to present for publication? Let us look at another topic. Assessing community pharmacists' involvement in mental services or any other disease. Evaluating the impact of community-based antimicrobial stewardship program. Assess health literacy levels in Ikeja, probably. Or evaluating patient satisfaction with community pharmacy services in Nigeria or in Ikeja. Who does that? It has to be you in community pharmacy. But you will not know. Not as if you are not capable of doing. By our training, we are robustly trained to execute any research proposal, any research. But we have not really thought or concepted about doing that. My student in Abuat, undergraduate, 600 level now in pharmacy, she brought a topic to me, and very interesting topic. She was talking about using the use of mobile apps to improve patient care and outcomes. And such a beautiful proposal. Who else could have done it? Community pharmacist. I can go over and over so many of these research topics, which if you want, I can give them to you. Assessing the common prescription drugs that are obtained without a prescription. Of course, this will bring us close to policy. There are things we do. If we had crystallized these ideas into a research, into publication, it's going to help a lot in changing policies. I listened with pain when my PCN rep was talking about sanitizing some shops in Lagos, when my PCN rep was talking about the illegality of a lot of practices in Lagos. And now I'm reconciled it with some things that we can do. I could remember some times back when road safety brought the wearing of seatbelt. And road safety insisted you must wear seatbelt, if not you'll be arrested. And everybody, when you are driving, until you see road safety in front, you quickly pull your seatbelt and wear. Till date, people still do it. But the truth is the road safety persons are talking about your safety, which means you don't need to compel. You don't need a compulsion. Let us consciously know that it is wrong to drive without a seatbelt because it is good for our own safety. By the time you consciously educate people, people will do the fight for you. People will do it. So even when you decide road safety to prosecute people, you are going to have the support and sympathy of the populace. And that is what my problem is always when we compel, when we force people into doing some things. I could remember in the floor of ASU, I also raised this issue to them on the Congress. When they were talking about ASU strike, and then ASU was talking about revitalization, 200 billion, 400 billion to be given to universities. Naturally, A common person will believe that university lecturers are demanding for the 200 billion, 400 billion. Those that finish University of Jos, when you go to the University of Jos today, you may be able to identify some of the chairs you sat 30 years ago. Same with other universities. You can identify the chairs that you sat. You can equally. We don't have Bunsen burners anymore, chemographs anymore. We demonstrate. Now, what is my business with revitalization? If the system does not see the need to revitalize, let them leave it like that. Let me come and do my own teaching and I leave. But let them talk about the welfare of the staff. You cannot believe it. A polytechnic lecturer earns more than a university lecturer today. Why? Because polytechnics were busy canvassing for the welfare of their staff, regardless of the facilities on ground. And I told ASU, let us consciously talk about our own welfare. Increase my salary, for God's sake. If government likes, they should buy test tubes. If they like, they should not buy. Let the parents be the ones that will fight for us, that my child say they are having lectures hanging by the window, hanging by the roof. When they do that, the protest will get, and then government will buy those things. Same comes down here. If we can consciously educate people, let them know that it is for the interest of their health. I can tell you, the day PCN, the day NAVDAC is going out for any sanitization exercise, the populace will support, and pharmacists will sit behind and smile. I'll tell you too, there are topics that we need collaboration. Have you thought about assessing the collaboration between community pharmacists and other healthcare professionals on patient care and outcomes? Here, you need NAPA, you need all the people around. All these examples I'm giving you, they are doable. And not just to conduct the research and keep. You conduct the research and publish it. You publish it in your local papers or publish it in foreign papers. It is going to have a great effect on policy making. We sit in the comfort of our places and say pharmacists have been working assiduously to correct prescriptions. Pharmacists have working assiduously in patient safety. Where do we have the evidence? No evidence. Community pharmacists have been robust in their practice. Where do we have the evidence? No evidence. ACPN, I'm happy the chairman is here himself. This is a challenge to you. Why can't we think about a journal club? Why can't we think about publications? Why can't we go also in the system that people can read and have it as a policy guide? Must we fight for everything? Can't we be strategic? Can't we go through innovation? Can't we go through collaboration? Can't we go through research and then have evidence to show? Once we can have an evidence to show, you do little talk, and then the papers, the results published will do more of this talk to you. And I'll tell you one thing. If you have a journal like that that is in circulation, you are going to have a lot of people buying and you're going to have a lot of subscription. Take it or leave it. That is another source of dollars for you. Money for you will be flowing in through that journal. A lot of persons have survived only by keeping journals. And let me tell you one thing. We need to also diversify. Permit me to tell you that recently I was consulted by a firm in South Africa to help them draft the curriculum of a certain university to fruition. And you cannot believe it. By the time I concluded the work for this firm, I was given 10,000 USD. Within that period, I kept praying that this dollar should be sinking. Let it be 3,000 per dollar. While I was expecting my 10,000 USD. I was praying for it to keep on falling and falling. Each time I read and I realize that Naira strengthens, I will be angry. Naira weakens, I will be happy because I know what I was expecting. Of course, that goes again with creativity, with innovation. A typical characteristic teacher will have just been in class teaching, receiving my salary and going to sleep. But I needed to be creative, to be innovative, to go beyond the bounds of my box. And I went to the consultation. And a lot of my colleagues in the university are relying on federal government and ASU before they do anything. But through creativity, I was able to bridge the gap. Same. If you have a topic like community pharmacy in an unstable economy, I'll tell you, a lot of persons will be interested. And they will know that ACPN is not just pharmacists rendering services, but they are ready to collectively change the dynamics of the healthcare system. And I'll tell you, so many ideas abound in research. But all you need is the deeper thinking. Remember, ideas are visitors. They can just fly in and leave. The moment an idea flows into your brain, just pick a paper and jot it. Sometimes I even go to the toilet with a jotter. In case I am taking my bath and I have any topic, I jot it. That's how we lose opportunities. Ideas will just flow in and you will not see that again. So this slide you are seeing, this slide you are seeing is talking about research opportunities. You could be tempted to think that research is purely for academics. Now lies the power of collaboration. You in ACPN, you can collaborate with people in the academia. Sure. Research and collaboration will go hand in hand. It's just like football. Those of you that love football. Oh, by the way, Arsenal scored 7-1 last week. And then Barcelona gave a fantastic game last week, despite losing a player. The beauty of football is when you see the connection between the defense and the midfield and the attack. And the style in substitution, excellent and beautiful. You can imagine if football were played with only two players, one at the other end, the other one at the other post, it is going to be notoriously boring. But for the connection, the interconnectivity, it makes it interesting. The style, the strategies, all are the building blocks. Come to think of it, we are talking about research. Please do not be afraid to start something new. I am happy with CPC to have concepted this topic today. Do not be afraid of starting something new. Remember, the ark was built by amateurs. If you look at your Bible, Genesis 6:7, where it tells you about Noah bringing 2 persons on a ship as the world was being destroyed because of corruption. I pray it doesn't come to Nigeria. Some persons were saved. But the Titanic that was built by experts, by engineers, by professionals, you and I know that the whole thing capsized in 1912, killing over 1,500 of the passengers. Why am I giving you this? Do not be afraid to start something new. You may think research, you are alien to it. You are not. I can tell you are not. You will start at any level and you will eventually get there. But while you are thinking about research, most importantly, you must know yourself. Know yourself. Know your strengths. Know your weaknesses. As Socrates will say, know thyself. Of course, Socrates was the wisest man in the world. Everybody has his own weakness and strength. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Seated here, you can be a lion. You can be an eagle. Of course, you can see the two. People refer to lion as king of the jungle. The lion is not the biggest animal in the jungle. I hope you know that. There are bigger animals than the lion. But the lion has a musculature and a claw that makes it a very perfect hunter. The lion is also fearless and courageous. The lion also created a social structure around it, pride, which is another strength, and that makes it the king of the jungle. But I will tell you too, on land, the lion is unbeatable. But in the air, the eagle is unbeatable too. The wingspan of the eagle, the agility of the eagle makes the eagle to soar to greater heights. And the eagle has an eyesight that makes it an independent, a solitary hunter. The eagle relies so much on its strength and the cunning attitude. My distinguished colleagues in community pharmacy here seated, strength comes in different forms. You can choose to be a lion. You can choose to be an eagle. But I will tell you, you can also choose to be both. By the training we had in our university days, we can comfortably be eagles in the air, lions in the jungle, because we can interface comfortably and successfully too with the physicians, with the nurses, with the patients, and indeed with the science world. I'll tell you, there are so many instances that happened in this country that I've seen, and there was no response. So much opportunities came in the face of provocation, And we did not do anything. On social media, I even read one this morning. A friend sent me an information that the milk of a cockroach is 4 times nutritious than the milk of a cow. I have read in the social media, do not take mango with Coca-Cola. I have read in the social media, do not take Septrin with Coca-Cola. In fact, the enemy of Lagos, another one said enemy of Lagos confirmed that a patient died after taking Coca-Cola with Septrin. Specifically Septrin, not cotramazole. So many of such examples abound. The most annoying thing, you, the experts in pharmacy, community pharmacists, what did you do? Nothing. You are waiting for academia to do that research for you? No. Not even a press conference, ACP and chairman. Not even a press conference that you render. I have seen instances where they will say this plant is effective in the treatment. This plant, why die in silence? Take this plant, cancer patients don't go to hospital again. 2 weeks, they are well. I've seen this plant, they will bring a picture, they say 2 hours, they will bring a picture before and after. 2 days ago, cancer. 2 days after, healed. On the social media, beaming. No single ACPN member who is perpetually seeing patients and drugs and community made a comment. It's very unfortunate. We should be able to change the dynamics. In fact, I've received a call one day from a physician. The person told me, Professor, is it true that people are using paracetamol to cook meat, to tenderize meat? And believe me, I never heard it. I said, no, I don't know. I'm not aware. But as a scientist, I can tell you it is possible that paracetamol can tenderize meat. He's a doctor, he's a physician. And he asked me how, and I told him. I said, well, I can talk as a scientist. If you look at the paracetamol acetaminophen himself, the chemical structure is a benzene ring. There's an amide group. And there's also an oxyl hydroxy group, meaning at the para position, meaning the benzene cannot do it. The hydroxy molecules cannot do it. But I'm suspecting the amides can do it. Because the amides, I know, through enzymic activity and proteolytic activity, can tender protein. I think that is the basis behind their usage. But why do they use that? He said he doesn't know. I said, well, there have been options. Because I know there are some molecules that can help in tenderization of most the amides. For instance, amides like the papain, like the bromelain, they are very, very useful in tenderizing proteins. He said, let us do a research on this. And I told him that, well, I was actually in Port Harcourt when he made that call. I was delivering a speech in Port Harcourt. Then I told, okay, don't worry, when I get back to Jos, we'll discuss this. However, if I were the people with the restaurants, we can equally think of another way. Because I know papain is found in pawpaw. Bromelain is found in pineapple. Why must I use paracetamol when I have the option of buying pawpaw and pineapple and peeling the back and boiling my meat with it? Because the two are edible. The paracetamol, I look at the effects on the kidney, and I said, no, I will advise otherwise. By the time I got back to Jos, we looked for a local cook, gave paracetamol in a bunch, looked for pineapple and pawpaw, realized that the taste of the food was affected. We now changed to raw pineapple and raw pawpaw. The taste was still affected, but this time around, I've done my own part. We worked and made a pilot study. And believe you me, pineapple back, pawpaw back was able to tenderize the meat as much as what paracetamol did. If it is so, please clap if you want to clap. Thank you. If it is so, why would I poison people with paracetamol? We can equally consider using the pawpaw bark and the pineapple bark to achieve the result. And we now went into another thinking together with my colleague. And behold, we ended up having powdered pawpaw and powdered pineapple bark so that people can buy and use to tender their meat. Now we have stopped the abuse of paracetamol. We have stopped the toxicity of paracetamol. Why am I giving this? I'm giving this narration because we thought outside the box, and money eventually came to us. But we do not have the capacity. We would have loved to have collaboration with the industry so that industry should now begin to package this tool and be selling it as a meat tenderizer. instead of us remaining resolute on paracetamol. The truth, as we move ahead, please, my dear colleagues, believe in yourself. I can see excellent group of people interested in research here, but they never knew that they are sitting on a wealth of information. I can see too that with technology now, we can even form groups of research. You can have groups of researchers in Lagos, get some from Jos, get some from anywhere. Technology has made everything easy. The groups can be defined. It could be pharmaceuticals, it could be pharmacokinetics, it could be medicinal, herbal medicines, etc., etc. And let me pose a challenge. At your various places of work, have you attempted to treat a patient with a drug and the patient is not responding? Not once, not twice, it happens. Could it be the genomics? Could you think about gene arrangement vis-a-vis the drug that you're using to these patients? That is an excellent research work that you can give us information about, and then you'll be reckoned with as sound researchers, robust thinkers in the healthcare. Please, I want to thank the CPC once again. That in our discussion with them on the day that Moji put it on speakerphone, they made it that this should not be a theory in which I too don't like it. I always want, after the workshop, after the keynote address, and so what? How do we change this? How do we translate? How do we transform this into our practice? We should never stop learning. We should never stop reading. Education is the key. I'll tell you something. I had a problem in my house sometimes back, with my plot sometimes back. A chief and somebody came to my house. They came actually to harass me, but they didn't meet me. They met my wife. And of course, they've been seeing me. I just came new from Kano. I just came to Jos. They've been seeing me driving. They don't even know me. Those of you that know me very well, you know that I'm always in suit. Not because I want to be wearing suit, because I use suit as a bulking agent. I am actually small structure, tiny. Unlike my friend Gafar, who is gifted in both quantity and quality. If we walk into a meeting, for instance, here, even if Gafar wears t-shirt and shorts, they will allow him in. But with my suit, the security man will still ask me, where is your invitation card? The same thing played out. They came to my house to harass me. Coincidentally, I'd gone to work. And they told my wife, who the hell, why must he extend his fence here? You are harassing and harassing her. My wife said, please don't be offended. When he comes, I'll tell him. Luckily for me, and luckily for her, somebody was passing. Innocently, he didn't know what was happening. He now asked them. He asked my madam, madam, good morning, ma. The woman answered. Is Prof around? Then he said, no, he has gone to work. The people looked at themselves and they left. When I got home, she told me that the Meangwa, that's what we call them. The Meangwa came to look for you. And he was really mad at you that you trespassed. You did this, you did that on your plot. I said, okay. So I went to Meangwa. When I got there, the story changed. And when Meangwa was escorting me, the Amanga said, I didn't know you were a professor. I said, how did you know? He said he heard that I'm a prof. Why did the story change? They fear those with knowledge and control those without it. And I want to encourage you too. You should be able to up your game in education, up your game in knowledge. Pharmacy is one profession that is so much taught and least applied. And you are in practice. Community pharmacist, you should be able to apply the knowledge that you have. And I will tell you again, sometimes I'm tempted to believe, could it be that my colleagues are afraid of the academia, and that's why they don't want us to open pharmacy premises? ACPN. Could it be, that could be the reason? PSN, I don't know. Maybe they don't want a pharmacist to operate community pharmacy outlet because they are so scared that they are going to get people away to them. I don't know. But if it is anyway, the new pharmacy law has given a soft landing to my colleagues. But we can do more. I'm happy PCN is here. I'm happy Other dignitaries are here too. The message I want to give you, please read. Read and read. Behind collaboration, research, and innovation, reading is very cardinal and pivotal. Now let me come in now to the apogee of our discussion. Collaboration, teamwork, the one-handed man of Black Lapland. Please, those of you that like sports, watch this.
There.
Usain Bolt is known to be the fastest man in the world. And he has a record of 9.58 seconds.
And Bailey. And Bailey's in his first Olympic Games, his first U.S. team.
And I'll tell you,
what Usain Bolt said what
motivated him to become the world champion was when Michael Johnson made 200 meters in 19.32 seconds. And Michael Johnson said nobody can beat this record in the world.
The two fastest countries of all time
and said, I will beat this record before the race. He didn't just beat the record
in the
of 200 meters because he made it in 19.19 seconds. He also beat the record, existing world record of 100 meters, the same event, the same day. He didn't just break it, he shattered the record with 9.58 seconds. In this race, it's 4x100 meter relay. In this race, 4 persons ran it. The anchor was this man running now, I think it's Freighter. Freighter handed it over to Carter. Carter will hand it over now to Johan Blake. Johan Blake is the third person. Did an excellent, this is Johan Blake. Excellent running. Watching him coming almost side by side with America. Then here came the apogee, Usain Bolt. You can see running side by side with the American, and he edges ahead. What a race. And why did they, if you look at this race again, let me take you back. Usain Bolt alone made 100 meters in 9.58 seconds. Meaning if anybody did lower than that person will have been the world record. Until today, this record is not broken. But do you know that when they ran the same 400 meters, 4 of them, meaning 100 meters each, they ran a total of 36.84 seconds.
In the history of this event,
when you divide 36.84 seconds by 4, it gives you 9.21.
And the United States in second,
9.21. And remember, the world record is 9.58. Unbeaten to the world.
36.84.
But when we ran with another group of runners, which Tyson Gay said their luck is Ashafa Powell was not there. If Ashafa Powell was there, they would have made it in 36.5 because Ashafa was a thunderbolt. Now to my story. If 4 of them ran it and they made 9.21, but when individual did it, they struggled. They never beat until Usain Bolt made it at 9.58. That tells you the power of collaboration. Within the system, they got inspired. As somebody is running with you, the inspiration comes. Most fundamental. When the team was interviewed after the race, they said the absence of Ashafa Powell was their own source of inspiration that they will run for him. And indeed they did. And the first person to start was Nestor Carter. Nestor Carter ran the race. He started. And those of us that know race, you know very well that starting while kneeling, and he ran it in 9.8 seconds. Amazing. He is a very good starter, but Usain Bolt is a perfect finisher. When you look at him at the beginning, he was side by side with Tyson Gay, but eventually he leaped and left Tyson Gay behind at the end after 50 meters. And that is how collaboration is. When you pick the strength of an individual, give him that strength. Give him those areas. Focus on his strength and minimal on his weaknesses. And then get another person too. And at the end of the day, everything works well. In research, we talk about teamwork, which we have seen in this race. We talk about exchange, we share ideas, we talk about collaboration, inspiration, which we have seen in the race. What is the purpose of collaboration? Our target is to have success. We assist each other. What you don't know, I know, and we add to it. But most importantly, we must trust ourselves. In the citation I sent, I was involved in a research in COVID-19 on the Plateau. I chaired the committee. And within 6 months of our research, we were able to patent 4 drugs. And when my CV was read one time, everybody was clapping for me. But the truth is, that work was not. I chaired the committee. The real anchor, everybody participated in my team of researchers. We had pharmacologists, we had pharmacists, we had biochemists, we had microbiologists, we had physicians, and we had vets. Where I do not know, I was educated. I didn't even know much about the molecular level, even though I have an MSc in biochemistry, but I didn't know the molecular level of COVID-19, of the coronavirus itself, until a scientist expunged and exposed and told me everything about it, and I got educated. No matter your level of education, somebody teaches you something new. Just last week, my son taught me something on my handset. Of course, they know that better than all of us. I will tell you that. Even me as a professor, don't think because I'm a professor, I know all. No, I don't. The best degree that you can have that will expose you to everything is your first degree, giving you a balanced sense of thinking and understanding. At PhD level, you know so much about little. And at the professorial level, you can only brag of only one field that you know. So in collaboration, what I lack, somebody else gives me the support, and we move. Now, please note, the same quality of research team that produces success are the same quality of the research team also that produces failure. Sometimes you can swim, sometimes you can sink. It depends on your goal. So you must all agree to set a goal within yourselves. If it is so, thus, make sure that everybody you have recruited in your team has the requisite skills to perform. Of course, you have an objective, what you are looking for. Make sure that what you are doing is also supporting the sense of your community. It will be meaningless if I start researching on what benefit does it have? So get a title, a topic that relates to your immediate community that you serve. Look for tasks and relationship-oriented avenues. Allocate tasks to the individuals that are in the team. Remember when we saw the 4x100 meters relay? Everybody has his own strength. I'll tell you, each time Johan Blake is excellent in negotiating bends. And it was at that bend that you're able to beat the American runner. Ab initio, Americans were known for 4x100 meters and 100 meters. But the emergence of Jamaica, first they were threatened by the Canadians. When Magic Bullet Johnson shattered the records of Carl Lewis, eventually the Jamaicans picked up. What did they do? Capitalizing on their strength and weakness. And if you know the story of Usain Bolt was born with scoliosis. And scoliosis is a disease condition that makes one leg to be taller than the other. Scoliosis is a disease condition that gives a curvature of the spine. In fact, his physician told him that he can never do anything physical. If you see him walking, you see him bouncing. He's not bouncing. That is the nature of his walk. Because one leg is longer than the other. He defied science. He defied logic. He inspired himself. He motivated himself. He spoke to himself that he is going to shatter. He's going to be 100 meters and 200 meters. And indeed, he ruled the world in athletics. Do not be discouraged. Again, you must get a team leader with the right thinking attitude. And it is easier for you to build on heritage relationships, meaning don't start something strange. You are not inventing the 9th planet or the 10th planet. You work on projects, assuming you are to build a bridge. If there is a collapsed bridge, why can't you fix that collapsed bridge? Work on inherited problems in the community. Help them, you solve it. Every member of the team must have a clear role. Tax ambiguity should not be part of it. As you do that, you must make sure that you build trust and relationships in what you do. Let me reflect you back. During the Ebola, during the COVID, if I am to ask you, collaboration is a necessity. It's a very complex world with so much interconnectivity. If it is so, during Ebola, during COVID, what did ACPN in Nigeria? My chairman, you are here, Eze. What did ACPN do? A press conference? Any health intervention? Any health collaboration? None that I know. Instead, within that period, some community pharmacies capitalized on the threat of COVID and they were skyrocketing the prices of their products. I'll tell you, I bought face masks at 800 naira. within the period of COVID from my colleague. And I'll tell you too, during COVID, a lot of persons died. My very good friend, Jacob Kolawole, who was a member of my research team in COVID, died. During the same COVID, me too, I contracted COVID, corona, and I was isolated for 28 days. Within these periods, what did we as professionals do? We should not capitalize on weaknesses, we should serve. Having discussed collaboration, please, if you know Albert Einstein made a quotation and he said, insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Don't you think that we're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? Come to think of it, innovation comes with critical thinking. And that is where we are in now. It comes with critical thinking. Innovation transforms the world. Innovation fosters creativity. Innovation drives activities. And innovation fosters collaboration and also encourages experimentation. Have we ever known that when you have a robust research proposal, you are going to have research grants? As collective groups of researchers, you get research grants. It could be travel grants, it could be conference grants, it could be support grants. There are so many grants, 1001, wasting around. Let me depress you. Community pharmacy in Nigeria, probably in West Africa, is the only profession that you grow poorer as you grow older. And I'll tell you, most of the pharmacists that are active and contributing financially in ACPN could be the younger ones. As they grow older, they will become poorer. Why? Because we have been doing the same thing over and over, which to me looks like insanity. I'm sorry if I'm being rude. Please, I'm sorry. Sometimes we can create so many opportunities, but we do not know. And I'll tell you one of it. We look at traditional medicine, packages of traditional medicines. I was so depressed. One day, I saw the package of Moringa oleifera, which is called Zogole in my Hausa language. I saw the package imported from Ghana. And those things were severally on display in Nigerian markets, in your pharmacy premises. What a shame. Is it that we cannot harvest the opportunities to go into innovation, go into a research, go into collaboration with industries and package these things and put in our stores? We can do it. I also saw granite imported from Ghana. They just fried it, changed it, and then packaged and expensively sold. Of course, packaging means everything. The difference between popcorn and guguru is the packaging. When you have it in a leather and a paper, it is guguru. When you package it and write expiration date, manufacturing date with beautiful name, it becomes popcorn, and you buy it expensively. But it's the same content. All I'm trying to say, we have to think outside the box. But if I were you, I would advise you also throw the box. Take it that there's even no box. We have endless boundaries. A lot of challenges waiting for us. A lot of opportunities waiting for us. Now, what next? After a presentation like this, what next? Is it the normal perennial talk that you talk and talk, after 1 year, another speaker comes, talk again. After 1 year, another speaker comes, talk again. Is there a way that we can connect what had been said into reality so that we can see whether it can change or not? Action plan, action strategy, planning. Recently, I was invited by my community, I'm an gas man in Plateau. The gas community invited me and gave me a fantastic task. I'm going to head a committee on education and business modeling. It's a one of the most popular cultural festivals on the Plateau. And they said I was going to head that committee. And I called the chairman, the president, and I told him, I have accepted to be the chairman of this committee. I've accepted to go into the discussion and make whatever we can do. But for you and I must go into an MOU. The MOU will be, after this, what next? What are the next things that we are to do? I should be able to give you a milestone in the next 2 months, in the next 6 months, so that it is not a yearly jamboree where somebody comes and talks rhetorics. Let us come to reality. What do we do to get accepted results as experts? So I pose a challenge here too. What do we do as pharmacists? We can define ourselves and our rules. ACPN chairman, you can build research teams in Lagos here. And I will tell you, I don't know why. I have so much confidence and trust in Lagos. When Lagos starts something, it spreads to the remaining part of the country. I want you to think about having a research team, identify the societal needs, create a brand for yourselves, create a niche for yourselves. You should be able to collaborate and network. You should network intra, within, and without. Within the community pharmacist, within other associations, NAPA, hospital service industries, etc. Most interestingly, please, national too, can you consider having a journal club so that all these researches we are doing should be published? Let us have it, probably also publish it as a book. One thing that I think is the apogee, the problem of pharmacists, is lack of sustenance in our programs and most fundamental, lack of mentorship. How many of you in community pharmacy today are consciously grooming up the younger ones so that they can inherit their positions? How many of us have consciously mentored the younger ones so that even in your absence, you are sure that things are done well? I'm so excited with the practice of people like Sir Jimmy. I'm happy with practices like Jimmy, etc., etc. You are telling a professor that he has 5 minutes. You can't give a professor time. Like we said, J.F. Kennedy said, those who look only to past and present are certainly going to miss the future. ACPN Lagos will definitely not be on the rule of those that will miss the future. Again, each time I look at people and their skills, I am thrilled. God made us for different reasons. God made us pharmacists for a different reason. I hope we all know that the first profession God created was pharmacy. The first profession God created was pharmacist. If you go back, those of us that are good in the Bible, go and open Genesis 2:21, where God made Adam to have a deep sleep, and Adam slept. What did God use? Anesthesia. Who discovered anesthesia? General anesthesia by pharmacists. So the first profession God made was actually pharmacist. God knows why he brought us into the world. And God knows that he made this day for a purpose. And he made this theme of innovation, of collaboration and research for a purpose. As at now, pharmacy is experiencing the darkest moments. I'm happy the PCN rep had said it. We're experiencing the darkest moments. But please note that light shines brightest when it is surrounded by darkness. We may be facing insurmountable or probably unimaginable challenges, but please rise up. We are stronger than we think. We are capable of achieving greatness in our practice. And like the famous quote of the Roman general Julius Caesar at the Battle of Zela, which is the present-day Turkey, he declared Veni, Vidi, and Vici. Convincingly, my assessment of community pharmacists in this training today shows that the organizers have a very clear path and strategy. The organizers know the situation and have seen that there's a need for this theme. And successfully, too, they have targeted at their objectives. At the end of this, as they shouted, I came, I saw, and I conquered, so shall we also sing the battle of victory. And I'll tell you, some of us were victims of a system, but we converted the victim into victory. I, standing before you here, in my 300 level, I almost repeated pharmacology, specifically autonomic nervous system, because they did test 1, I failed. Test 2, I failed. Test 3, exam 3, I had a woeful performance. But they had a board meeting and decided that, no, let them just give me a trial to allow me to go. Autonomic nervous system. When I finished my university, I made up my mind that this same autonomic nervous that almost disgraced me in my 300 level is what I'm going to read. That's how I got MSc in pharmacology. In the last 30 years, I have never taught autonomy. That is what I teach today. I've never taught it with a book. Those of you that trained the University of Jos will know I never entered a class with any book teaching autonomic nervous system. Why? Because I knew this course wanted to disgrace me. I made up my mind to disgrace it. And I'll tell you too, as we are all seated, we shall overcome our challenges and disgrace our adversaries. Once again, I appreciate this moment. It is possible that my address was so long because I saw the MC walking to me to give me 5 minutes. But I promise you that I will try that you do not sleep. Lastly, I could remember some times back, a speaker was called to present a speech. He was talking and talking. People left one by one, till at the end, only one person was left in the hall. And he turned and thanked the person for being patient, for staying this long. Then the woman said, no, she's not part of the audience. She's actually the security. She's waiting for him to go so that she'll close. I am happy I didn't see the MC with any key to close the hall. MC, I thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much. And I'll tell you one thing. Let us go out and make today count. God bless you all.
Sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please one more time, please let's celebrate. The Prof had a fantastic job. Wow. Thank you very much, sir. We celebrate you. And please, one more assignment before we sit down. Please help me tell him I'm sorry. The MC is sorry.
The MC is sorry.
Thank you, sir. Please, we can have our seats. All right, so please, right now, with the permission of the elders in the house, I think we should take 1 or 2 questions. What do you think? Questions? CEC chairman, can we take 1 or 2 questions? Yes, is in order. So questions, now that we've spoken about research, collaborations, a lot of things is going through our minds, and I'm sure quite a number of us will have 1 or 2 things to ask the Prof directly. So you have the opportunity. We still have a session where we're going to discuss some of the actionable points from what we have discussed today. But do we have questions in the house for Prof? There's one. Please let me get the mic to him. Any other question? I think we just have a question. So, Prof, we have a question for you.
Thank you so much, Professor Wannang. It's your boy, Jonah. My concern, I came in late, but I am happy I came in at a very auspicious time, particularly the solutions you preferred. My concern is in the area of the research team and some of those things you listed. I want to plead that you please work with us so that we do not just end it as a talk like you said, but to take it to the next level. Because there's so much to do. There's so much opportunity out there for us, but it is how for us to give life to these things. I want to have a solution to all these things. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you answer the question, all right, so we have a questionnaire that's been distributed by one of us, Dr. Seni, the Southwest Zonal Director. There's a former director. Please, the questionnaire, the hard copies are being distributed. Please help us fill it. We're just trying to get some feedback. And please, when you're done, return it back. All right, so we have one more question on this side, and then the Prof can answer.
Dear Prof. Wannang and my colleague, I'm surprised when I looked at your CV. I don't know whether it's a mistake. You didn't mention much of what you have done in the sales field. Because Wannang was my senior colleague in fisting drugs. He is a very, very good salesman. And I also, having to work for many years in the sales industry, I know that one thing is to have a research, another thing is to sell it. If you cannot sell it, if you cannot sell the value, investors will not look for you. So I know very well that what made Wannang what he is today is his ability to sell. You could see the way he presented now. That's a salesman. Please, Wannang, never forget to put in your CV that you were a salesman. So that people will learn to know that selling is a very important skill for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's why we sold face masks to him for 800 naira. Prof, you can react, sir.
Thank you very much. I actually didn't recognize my colleague. I thought that you've grown gray hairs, but I didn't know it was you. But the moment I heard your voice, I said, that must be you. Well, thank you for your compliments. I sincerely appreciate all of you. The first one, too, I didn't know it was a question because it looks more as if, will I be able? And I can tell you my answer is yes. And that is the essence of collaboration that we've been talking about. We need to collaborate. With all pleasure, 100% I'm there for you. I told you that I had my relationship in pharmacy from Lut here. So by implication, probably I will pay my dues for ACPN if you can get me the opportunity. So now let me be a member of ACPN in Lagos. I can tell you I am willing and happy and eager to participate in any research that ACPN Lagos or any part of ACPN invites me. I think that has answered that. On the second, I was a salesman. For the best part of my youth, I was a salesman for a company before I ventured into the academia. In any case, the is that she couldn't have read the entire CV. You could, it is a part of it. God.
Thank you very much. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please let's celebrate Prof. Wow. You are loaded, sir. And I remember University of Jos very well. I can never forget University of Jos. As a student, we went from Shagam for a conference and we played football with University of Jos Faculty of Pharmacy. They beat us 15-0. We were begging the referee, stop this match. We are not interested again. The cold was too much. They will play the ball. They will say, you're run. I say, where? Run where? In this cold? And these boys that were playing against, they didn't wear shirts. They were just scoring. We said we are not even playing. It's no longer a friendly match. This one is a brutal match. University of Jos, I'll never forget you.